Hey, friend. So, welcome back to Life with Beth. My name is Bethany, and if you're new here or you're returning, you should like the video number one because you know it's going to be great. And then you should subscribe so you can keep seeing great videos like this and keep tuning in for lifestyle, college, and career content like these vlogs, these videos. They're giving what they're supposed to be giving. So you should stay tuned and tapped in. This is a 10 things I wish I knew before college video. I made a list of 10 things I wish I knew at the end of fall semester. I did one at the end of spring semester, and I did one recently. And actually, I just finished doing like summer classes, a summer psych class. Um, so yeah, I had like a weird, I don't really think that counts as freshman year anymore, but college is college. So if you're new or you recently just graduated, shout out class of 2021. Congrats to y'all. This video is for you because there's a lot of things. Going to college is a great achievement, but there's a lot of things that you don't figure out until you get there. So this video is to help you figure it out before you get there. So number one, ironically, my number one is kind of the same on both lists, but my old list, it's number one, it's okay to not be okay. And then the other list I have, number one is choose yourself. You are your number one priority. And they go hand in hand because you have to know yourself. If you're not okay, I mean, you may not be the vocal type to be like shouting from the rooftops, like, I'm not okay. But at least take the time to take care of yourself, do what you gotta do so you can get right and feel better. And even if that's emailing a teacher and being like, hey, I need a mental health day, I've had to do that a couple times. And with your friends too, just being like, hey, like I can't go to this movie anymore, I can't go out tonight anymore, like I just need a break, I just need to stay in and watch movies. With school, friends, if you have a job, with work, with mentors, advisors, whoever, like make sure you put yourself first. And I guess to go with that too, if your grades, if you know your friends are trying to go out every weekend and you can't fade or you can't do it every weekend, put yourself first, put them grades first, honey. You're there to get an education and do what you gotta do. So yeah. Number uno is put yourself first. You are your priority. While if you're in state or out of state, your parents aren't really there unless you're like living at home. And for that, it just means like no one's really watching out for you. Like you gotta watch out for yourself. And that's just like end of the day. If you have parents or family on campus, you lucked out because they will probably pull through when you need them the most. But if it's just you on your own, you gotta watch out for you. Like that's just end of the day. Like put yourself first in life at this point. Like prioritize you. Number two, I have get a mentor. On the other list, I have you're there for your education, but they both kind of go hand in hand. Some people are scared to ask for help. I've been there a couple times. Freshman year, even with not being okay, freshman year, there's a lot of like putting on a brave face, putting on a I'm okay face, putting on a everything's good, my grades are good when they may not be type face. Like, if that's you at the end of the day, like, if you need to get a mentor, somebody who's been through college, somebody who may be like an upperclassman who kind of knows the ins and outs already, who can help you out, or especially with classes, because a lot of times, like, there will be friend drama, but at the end of the day, like, friend drama can kind of go to the wayside when you realize, like, I gotta keep a scholarship, I gotta be here for my grades, like, I want a career after this. All that is kind of priority, or at least for me it was. I don't know, I can't speak for anyone else, but for me that's how it was. So especially with getting used to going to college, like having a mentor is key to like having someone. I'm not saying that you're a therapist now, but having someone to talk to and be like, hey, like how did you study, what kind of study tips do you use, how do you do time management, like, oh, I never thought of using that app. Or even just like, oh, what are good places to eat, or like what's the best dining hall on campus, like little stuff like that. Mentors come in handy. Number three, Girl, I took a picture of my list because it was on my iPad, and this font is tiny. I did not realize I write this small. I'm so sorry. My face is all up in the camera, and I'm like squinting. Oh my gosh. My number 3 is You're Not Alone. I guess I'm giving both lists. So 3.1 is You're Not Alone, and 3.2 is Respect your and other people's boundaries. It's weird how these all kind of connect in like a loose way, but for 3.1, You're Not Alone, it basically just means like, especially like I said earlier, like making yourself a priority. It can easily, if you put yourself in a box or you don't get out your room, honey, it'll feel like it's just you. Even if you have a roommate or if you don't, it can easily feel like if you want to sequester yourself in college, you can. Like, no one's checking for you to be like, hey girl, come out tonight. Like, I mean, if you made friends and they're doing that for you, that is great. That, I love that for you. But if it's first week of school, you haven't met anyone yet, like, it's kind of double-edged sword. Like, physically, you're alone, and you kind of have to like move to like go to events, try to join clubs and stuff, so you're not alone. But it's really easy to meet people, and it may not be like a deep, like everlasting, I don't know if that's the right context, like a deep, like bestie, sister, brother, gang them, bond for life type situation. But at the very least, you can meet people to do things with and have a good time with. Um, and in that sense, you're not alone. Like, you can always find stuff to do on campus, and hopefully, I mean, normally people are pretty nice, and you can like find someone to meet there or like find someone you have something in common with. And then respecting people's boundaries. This has so many layers. Respecting people's boundaries on a physical scale. If your friend is not a hugger and you know they don't want you hugging them, don't hug them. Mentally, don't like try to manipulate other people, or like personally, I don't like feeling like I'm forcing myself on other people, so that's kind of like a boundary that I don't try to cross with others. um and if you yourself, when you have boundaries, you don't want people touching you don't want people taking your food, you don't want people on your bed or whatever, enforce those boundaries. um and just make sure that people respect you. Like, give respect, make sure you're getting your respect in return. Number 4 is explore campus, explore the city. If you are in the city, even if you're in a college town, go visit that mom and pop diner if that's all y'all have. Or even if you know someone with a car, go explore like something around there. I don't know. um I probably should have said this in the beginning, but I go to Ohio State, so we're like kind of on the edge of Columbus. So don't be afraid. I mean, if you're coming to OSU, don't be afraid to hop on the Coda and go downtown, or go to a museum, or go get ice cream from people. Like, there's so many, like, just random things that can turn into such great memories. So don't be afraid to get out of your dorm room, okay? Don't be afraid to get out there and explore. Basically, explore. Live your life. 5. People live there. Wherever you're going to school, people live there. This is mostly for my friends who are going to school in a city. People live there, especially if it's a predominantly black city. People live there. Like, I mean, I keep saying the same thing, but one thing for me was, since Ohio was in the Midwest, and coming from, I mean, if you don't know anything about me, I'm from Maryland. I'm an out-of-state student at Ohio State. So coming from Maryland to the Midwest, I didn't really expect for Columbus to be as diverse of a city as it was. And with that, even if the city wasn't diverse, there's a certain type of respect I feel like you have to give people that are from the area wherever your college is. Like, if, for example, let's say you go to like, I don't know, Penn State, just because I know Penn State is low-key in the middle of nowhere. Like, if you go to Penn State, you're going to a house party or a frat party or something, like, that doesn't mean you need to be out there, like, I don't know, God forbid, like throwing up in the house party people's neighbor's lawn, or you need to be littering all around the city or running in between traffic and stuff because people live there. Like that is a whole residential neighborhood and you need to respect those people. I'm not saying don't like turn up, don't have fun or anything, but at the end of the day, like act like you have some sense. Like if you lived in that neighborhood, like you would be pissed. So, and to that extent, I'll clarify. Like that doesn't mean not like yelling or having a good time. I just mean like at the end of the day, people live there. Like for me, I go back to being in a city because this is a big thing for me. Like seeing a lot of houseless people, people without the means to necessarily provide for themselves, especially living kind of near the city. For me, it became key. Like when I'm out at night, even if I'm with people who may not necessarily be sober or they're trying to have a good time, like at the end of the day, I'm still gonna respect the people that I see on the street. I may not have the financial means to give them money or food or anything like that. And at the end of the day, like considering I'm struggling to make ends meet as a college student, I'm not gonna be sad about that, but I'm not gonna disrespect you. I'll give a story. Basically, one time it was like Saturday night. These guys were drunk. This man was sleeping on the sidewalk, and this drunk guy came and woke up the man. Don't do that. Number one is disrespectful, and number two, that person is simply minding their business. And it's obvious, like at the end of the night, you're gonna go home and sleep in your dorm. That person does not have anywhere else to sleep. It's 30 degrees outside, and you choose to bother them. That's rude. Like, if you meet people on campus like that who do things like that, check them. One, because people live there. That is the key to the whole people live there. People live there rant. Like your college town may be a college town, yes, but especially if you're in a city, people live there. You need to respect those people. That's like if you go to New York, you're not about to be out there disrespecting New Yorkers, talking all crazy, doing all types of wild things because they live there. Like they know what the vibes are. Just because you go to school there does not mean you're special. Like congrats, you're in college, but at the end of the day, you need to respect the space that you occupy. Me personally, I feel like considering, I mean, I didn't really have a choice. Like I knew I was going to college, but considering the privilege I have to go to school, go to a good school, and just kind of understanding how I fit into society. Like at the end of the day, I feel like I need to be giving back to the community and the space that I occupy. So a big thing for me coming up into my sophomore year is contributing to the greater Columbus community, and trying to figure out ways to do that. But at the end of the day, on a smaller scale, freshman year, you may not know anyone or really like know how to give back to the community that you're taking a space and taking a part of as a freshman. But at the end of the day, the least you can do is respect the people who live there. Number 6, I'm keeping count with my fingers because last video I lost track. Number 6. College is a restart. If you want to rebrand, restart. I was gonna say redo, but I honestly don't know what you would want to redo from high school and college. Maybe you were having your best life. I don't know. College is a restart. You want to dye your hair, you want to cut it, you want to get that piercing, get that tattoo. Be careful with that though, because those are, I mean, now you can get them removed, but they're still kind of permanent. So I would say play your cards wisely with that one. But if you want to go by a different name, I won't necessarily say switch up your personality, but you want to start living more out loud, like do that, because you'll find people on campus who appreciate who you are, whether it's new and improved you, same you with a couple changes. Like at the end of the day, people will appreciate that, and there's no need to shrink or stifle yourself just to fit into a mold, because on campus there's a whole bunch of molds. There's going to be a lot of people who fit into stereotypes and a lot of people who don't, and at the end of the day, if authentic you doesn't, who cares? Like live out loud, live your truth, basically. I'm so sorry, all these videos are like 20 minutes. I feel like I really just be rambling. Ugh, this is a mess. But number 7, communication is key. Communicate with your friends, communicate with your teachers, your TAs, your advisors. Advisors are clutch. I love my advisors. But communicating with your friends, like don't ghost your friends. If you can't go out that night, tell them and be honest. If you're going on to a different move, tell them and be honest. Don't be rude about it. Like people understand. There's no need to hide anything. communicate. Um, that's not saying, I mean, not everybody needs to know everything now. That's not what I'm trying to say. I just mean, like, if it's mild, like, don't gas it up. I'm using a lot of terms, a lot of lingo here. If, okay, let's say, like you and your friend were supposed to go out to lunch and you went over hanging out with somebody else, like just text your friend and be like, hey, I'm hanging out with so and so right now, we're here, we went over, like, oh, I can meet you later, or do you want to come like hang out with us too? That's a simple communication is key. Like, don't ghost your friend, they're about to meet you somewhere. Yeah. Number 8. You are not your grades, and failure is not the end of the road. It is okay to fail, learn from your mistakes. However, try not to fail. If you don't fail, you make your life a lot easier in the long run. However, but if you do fail, I would just say you aren't your grades. Like, take that L and learn from it. Like the Big Sean song, you just need to bounce back. Like, that's all I really gotta say on that one. If you also look at your habits though, if you do take an L with your grades, like if you know like you didn't get the grades you wanted, look at your study habits, look at how you're spending your time management, because time management is key in college. And you'll probably hear that a lot, but if you don't use a planner, I would say try to invest in one. Or if you have a system that works, good for you. Hopefully, praying it works for you in college. Um, but yeah, if if you do take it, like look at what happened and what went wrong, where it went downhill, and then that's where you need to change, basically. For me, one thing I had to start doing, especially with engineering for calculus, I started doing Khan Academy and math review during the summer so that I could keep up, because math is like one of my weaker subjects, and I knew like I can't, the way and the path I was going, I couldn't continue, so I just had to make a change. Oh my gosh, this video might be 25 minutes, and I am so sorry. Okay, number 9. Live within your comfort zone, but also get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Those kind of contradict, but they'll make sense in a couple minutes. Like, being comfortable with being uncomfortable, freshman year, you meet a lot of people. You meet, like, new people every day almost. New dorms, sharing spaces, communal bathrooms maybe, suites, school food, all this stuff. There's gonna be times where it's uncomfortable. There's gonna be times where you hate the food. There's gonna be times where you hate the people you're around low key. They might be getting on your nerves a little bit. Times where people might be trying to make moves or something and you just don't feel comfortable. Now, this is again where boundaries come into play. Make sure people are respecting your boundaries when you do feel uncomfortable. Like, if you need to remove yourself from a situation, do that. But at the same time, like, one of my good friends, a couple of my good friends, they have like social anxiety, and especially for everyone out there who does have social anxiety, I would say kind of take it in baby steps. Like, just do like little micro doses of uncomfortable, and it'll go a long way, and I promise it'll help you. Um, and then living within your comfort zone, again, that goes back to the kind of, when people try to cross your boundaries, that's when you gotta be like, no, that's way too far out of my comfort zone. Like, I'm not good with that, and or I can't do that. And then don't do it. Don't force yourself to do things you're not comfortable with. So it's kind of like calculated risk. Like, if you're not a party person and you know you might be a little uncomfy, but you still want to go out, like maybe go to the party. But if you know you don't want to drink, and you're not comfortable with that, and your friends are drinking at the party, you don't need to drink. Like, live within what you feel comfortable. I keep saying that word. Live within your means, basically. Like, you don't have to keep up with everybody always. Like, you can still be lit sober, or still have a good time. Like, there's no need to push yourself. Just like a slight nudge, but not a full blown shove. 10. Number 10 kind of relates to the other one. It's just saying take risk. I made this list a while ago. So I'll do like 2 halves of 10. 1 half of 10 is, these are all kind of just sayings. So like, one says take leaps of faith, kind of going back to being comfortable, being uncomfortable. Like, take a risk. Anything is possible. when I got to school, I kind of forgot this, but like seeing the athletes, seeing people with their own businesses, seeing people passionate about music, stocks, nature, whatever, fashion, like anything is possible. Like college is kind of the time to sow into fruition the life you always envisioned for yourself. And that's, for me, that was terrifying because I realized like everything I'd been dreaming about since elementary school, like this was the time when it was going to happen, and it hit me like I'm really growing up. And that's not to scare you, but it's just to say like you're not under the guise of your parents anymore. Like yes, you are, especially if they're paying for school, but at the end of the day, like you have to answer to you every night when you go to sleep, every morning when you wake up. It's, am I eating breakfast? What, how am I taking care of myself today? Like you make your own choices, and the sooner you come to terms with that you're in control and the amount of freedom you have, the better overall you do, in my opinion, with adjusting to college, because you already understand like the choices I make and the actions I pursue, everything has a consequence, and I'm aware of that when I go out with my friends, when I go to class, when I'm walking on campus, like even just little things like, oh, if I want to walk with headphones in my ear, like what repercussions could that have? But at the same time, like how does it make me feel as a person? So yeah, um, enjoy life, live in the moment, don't be scared. Like get out there. It's college is, people will say it's the best time of your life, and I truly do believe that in the bottom of my heart. I would say overall, I read my freshman year like a 6. It wasn't the best or the most amazing thing, but at the end of the day, like I can definitely see how it's positively impacting me as a person and the growth I've had from it, and for that I will forever be grateful. And my other half of 10 is time management. Time management is key. It is so important. You will save yourself so much stress, and you'll be so much more well rested and happy overall if you just manage your time. And that's all I really have to say. Like, I can't control it for you. If you want, comment below if you want me to do a video on how I manage my time, because I had to learn basically how to do that. And I'm not the best at it, but I can kind of just drop like how I'm getting better at it and doing, I guess, trying to make the most of my time. But my schedule's kind of crazy. I'm a weirdo. I'm like a weird like morning person and night owl mix situation. But yeah, those are the 10 things that I learned and the 10 things I wish I knew before I went to college. Hopefully this video helped you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Or if you've already been to college, or you've done your freshman year, you've done community college classes, whatever, for my dual enrollment baddies, what's one thing you wish you knew before you went to school? Or what is a question you have about living on campus? So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed.